What's up guys, this is Alex from Star Wars Explained, and I am excited to once again work with Sci-Fi Wire to bring you this video. Last time I talked about my top 10 favorite non-film Star Wars stories, including books, video games, and comics, but today I'm just going to talk about my top 10 favorite Star Wars comics in both Star Wars canon and Star Wars Legends. I'm actually starting my list with a series that's not set in either continuity called The Star Wars. The story is based off of George Lucas's very earliest treatments for his galaxy far, far away. It uses a lot of the concept art developed by Ralph McQuarrie, and if you've ever wondered how different Star Wars could have been, this is a very intriguing read. Next up is a Legends comic called Crimson Empire. I was always curious about those red-robed royal guards from Return of the Jedi, and I wish that we could have seen them in action. Well, this comic not only shows you how awesome they can truly be, but it goes into their training in an intense and violent story that takes place after the death of the Emperor that the guards were meant to protect. The first canon comic on this list is Poe Dameron. I'll admit the series can be a little hit or miss, but in the past few months it's really hit its stride. The main villain, Agent Terex, is probably my favorite part of the series, and he shows us what happened to stormtroopers after the Battle of Jakku, as well as how some of them joined up with the First Order. Honestly, it's our best look at the new enemy faction of the sequel trilogy outside of The Force Awakens. Star Wars Tales is another Legends series, but it's an idea I really hope Marvel explores in the future. Each issue was full of one-off stories surrounding all sorts of characters, both major and minor. For example, you could learn the history of Yaddle from Episode 1, or you could see how Mace Windu got his purple lightsaber crystal. I of course love learning all of these little tidbits, so I would be thrilled to have something similar released in the future. The next canon comic I'll be talking about is Dr. APHRA, and this series kind of does what Star Wars Tales did because the main character is an archaeologist. So she spends her time adventuring around the galaxy searching for lost relics, and in the process we get to learn all about ancient Star Wars history. I am constantly surprised at how much I enjoy her stories. Going back to Legends is another anthology series of sorts, Star Wars Republic. This one follows different characters throughout the course of the Clone Wars, but the most important thing it did was introduce Jedi Master Quinlan Vos to the galaxy. He was based on just a background extra from The Phantom Menace, but this comic turned him into a fan-favorite character. Up next is the canon Darth Vader comic. This 25-issue series tells us how Darth Vader rose to hold such great power in The Empire Strikes Back, despite his failure to protect the Death Star in A New Hope. It can be a little silly at times, but for the most part, the characters and the story are handled very seriously, and Darth Vader specifically is portrayed as terrifying and ruthless. Coming in at number 3 is the main canon Star Wars run. Simply called Star Wars, it bridges the gap between episodes 4 and 5, but its greatest selling point is just how much fun it is. Elite stormtroopers, stealing Star Destroyers, a buff Hutt, a face-off between Chewbacca and Dengar, Obi-Wan's journals. Every new arc is built around a solid idea, and for the most part they've been well executed, but the fun tone is what really holds this series together. The last Legends comic on this list is coming in at number 2, and it's called Tales of the Jedi. This is more of a personal choice for me because it was one of my earliest introductions to the expanded universe. The story takes place over 4,000 years before the events of the films, and it tells a gripping story of fall and redemption. It also features the first introduction of a double-bladed lightsaber before Darth Maul ever made it cool. Finally, number 1 on my list is the canon comic Lando. This story has it all. It's fun, it's humorous, and it's surprisingly emotional. Lando and Lobot get a team together to pull off a heist. Little do they know that the target is Emperor Palpatine himself. The story twists and turns, the characters are very well written, and no matter what I say, I feel like I'm not doing it justice. Please just go check it out. It's only 5 issues long, and its short length makes it the perfect introduction series to check out to see if you want to keep reading more Star Wars comics. That brings this list to a close. What do you guys think? I'm sure there are plenty of stories that I didn't include that you feel are essential, so put your list in the comments. Again, I need to give a huge thank you to Sci-Fi Wire. It is always an honor to work with them. If you've never checked out their website, I put a link in the description. They cover sci-fi news of all kinds, not just Star Wars, but I figure if you're a fan of this channel, you're probably going to be interested in a lot of what they're talking about as well. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel to keep up with Star Wars news and lore every single day, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out my Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.